Welcome to the Membership Business Growth Podcast, the #1 podcast for martial arts and fitness business owners. We'll dive deep with industry legends to bring you insider secrets on marketing, sales, retention strategies, and life's balancing act. Get expert tips for business growth right here, right now on the Membership Business Growth Podcast. Let's kickstart the action with your host, Ron Sell.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited today because I have my friend Robby Beard here. Robby Beard is a multiple school owner. Has been in this martial arts business for a long time. He absolutely crushes it along with his wife, and they're also dear friends of mine, which I love. So we're going to talk today with Robby Beard about growth, on how we grow our martial arts school, how we get to the very next level, no matter what level we're on. So, Robby, thanks so much, my brother.
Of course, man. I'm excited to be here. It's an honor to be here, man. Thanks a lot. I hope we can get some great information out.
Well, I think we will. Will.
For sure.
Yeah. So, how do you think about growth? Like, what's your mindset about growth? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think growth is why we go to work every day, number one. But I really think about back in the day, 30 years ago, starting off in the martial arts school and not knowing where to go, right? And it's really simple. We just got to get members and we got to keep members. But there's a million spokes in that wheel, right? That rolling you towards those two things. And I think for a lot of school owners, they have their growth is stunned because they don't know what spoke to tighten on, right? They're working on this marketing idea when they really should be working on this retention idea, right? Or they're cleaning parts of the car that no one ever sees. And so I think that growth has to be knowing what your goal is and how you're going to get there.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful thing to say. I tell clients all the time, man, just enroll more people and keep them as long as you can. If you just focus on those two things, everything else seems to be sort of a distraction.
Right. Yeah. Everything, watch the pennies and the dollars take care of themselves. Right. So It's like, watch those two things and everything else will usually take care of itself. But I kind of knew we'd probably talk a little bit about this. So I kind of put some things down I want to maybe hit real quick. And and for me, this really helped me years ago. A matter of fact, it's even on the magazine back here, the 7 Steps to Success that I used to talk about, but I still think it's relatively relevant. And really to give school owners an idea, like, where do I need to start, right? And I know there's going to be people watching this that have 10 students and have 1,000 students. We're going to have all the way across the board. So work with me, and I'm going to cover both ends of this. But, I know it's going to sound super elementary, but we got to start off phase 1 with making sure our school is clean and professional. And I want to say this because a lot of times you're like, I want marketing ideas, Robby. Give me marketing ideas. I'm like, I don't want marketing ideas, because if they show up and your school smells like crap, then it's no good, right? Well, it's going to be a new move to teach. I don't want to do that. You don't even have a student. You got to start with a clean and professional school. And I want to make sure I emphasize, I know we're not talking about Spark necessarily, but this is what I love about Spark. It helps make my school professional. Websites are professional. My flyers are professional. My class schedule is professional. So everything that people are seeing even before they get in the door, the website needs to look good. Your school needs to look good. When you hand them that introductory, that class schedule, it looks good. All these things. Now, if you're a school owner, it's like, this is boring, right? I already do all that. Good. Highlight this is off your list. You don't have to worry about. The second thing in phase 1 for growth is going to be, do you know how to set an appointment, right? Do you know how to move somebody from, I kind of want to do it, to their own paper, and they're actually showing up, right? That's going to be step 2 in phase 1 is, if somebody walks in the door, can you set an appointment? If they call, can you set an appointment? If it's a lead off your internet website, yada yada yada, can you set the appointment? Now,
I think it goes beyond that, Robby, for a second, if I may.
Sure, please.
A lot of people can get appointments, but then they complain. Well, they just don't show up.
Right.
That's because you didn't set the appointment right.
That's correct. And we could talk all day on how to do that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Again, I love some of the Spark automations. Make sure that we're using these tools, right? Because there's so many tools available for school owners with Spark and other organizations, whatever. But there's so many tools that school owners don't use them. They don't use them. They back away from them. But you're 100% right. The next, because I want to get to the good stuff. The
Yes,
next
sir.
thing is selling memberships. Do you know how to close a member, right? Do you know how to get them to sign that agreement, whether you do a month to month or 12 months, whatever? Do you know how to get them enrolled, right? This is phase one. Don't worry about all the rest of the stuff if you can't do those three things, right? So practice on those. Get your team working on those issues. Now we move to phase two, right? Phase two is marketing, right? So marketing is, and the reason this is important, I want to emphasize, there's no sense in you marketing something if you can't sell a membership. No sense in you marketing something if you can't answer that phone and set that appointment that shows up. No, so follow with me. So now, I'm not going to talk a lot about, I'm going to speak a little bit about marketing here, but I think the key for school owners to know is you've got to be doing 6 or 7 things a month that produces members. You can't go out there with one or two things, right?
Right.
And I'm going to spit a few out, right? Obviously, there's thousands of them, but I want to spit a few things out. Obviously, your website leads are going to be important, right? So your website should be producing something. Facebook ads, if you run those, social media posts, somebody's running all that for you. You're doing that. You're learning that. I like to do referral type of stuff every month, and it could be disguised as maybe a referral contest, maybe a bring a buddy, break a board, maybe it's a parents' night out where you bring a friend, maybe it's a goal-setting workshop, maybe it's instructor for the day, maybe it's even on like confirming the intro, like, okay, well, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow at Wednesday. Oh, by the way, does Michael have a friend he'd like to bring to class? That's asking for that referral. Maybe at the time of enrollment. Oh, and by the way, you get a free uniform if you want to fill out a VIP pass for one of your friends. So many ways to get these referrals, right? I just spit out 10 or whatever right then. Birthday parties are a great marketing tool. Valentine cards, Halloween cards, St. Patrick's Day cards, ad cards in businesses, flyers, women's self-defense classes, honor roll passes, school talks, booths and festivals. I mean, as you can see, we could be here all day just talking about marketing, but I wanted to spit a few of those out. Rewind this if you need to, because I know I talk fast, but pick your 5 or 6 of those and hammer on those every month. So I'm going to pause if you got anything you want to add to any of this, by the way, because you give me a soapbox. I'm just yapping away.
Yeah, Robby, I think that the only thing that I would like to emphasize on what you said was this, is like most people will pick one and it's always the easiest thing that they could pick. I'm not going to call them lazy, but it's like it was so easy to get a bunch of leads from my Facebook ads in the past. So right. I'll just spend the minimum on Facebook and I'll only have one lead source. And the problem with that is like we saw it not only in Spark for our own ads that we were doing, but in also martial arts schools. When it gets around November and December, you have major corporations dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into ads, which means our ads get pushed down and their ads get lifted up and our leads come in at right around 0 during those months, right? So if you only picked one thing and it was the easiest thing you could pick, you're not going to have a sustainable, consistent lead flow. So when you said 6, I always tell people 8 or 5 or 8, depending on what level they're at in their business. But you have to have I think digital marketing is the icing on the cake. Like you do these 5 things or these 6 things, and then you also on top of that add digital marketing. And because, we're not in control of digital marketing, right? It's a hope. We're hoping people see the ad. We're hoping that they are interested, all that stuff. I don't like to rely on hope. I like to do the things that you're talking about, do 5 or 6 of those every single month. And I have a consistent lead flow. And then whatever extra I get from referrals and digital marketing is just icing on the cake for me.
Right. I agree. I even made a note, and I think this is a mistake a lot of school owners. I know I talked to my team, because I have 6 locations here, so I get to see all within the same demographic. So I was like, why is that school enrolling 10 and that one's enrolling 40, right? It's like,
right.
So I can easily see what works and doesn't work just within my own demographics. But one thing I constantly want to preach these guys is your marketing isn't always to that present customer, but more importantly in my mind is to your future customer. So sometimes we'll do something and go, I didn't get but 2 people off that. Well, I didn't get but 1 person. But you still, like, for example, a women's self-defense class, like every time I do them, it's not a home run for me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I get a few people signed up, but it's not, you would think with 40 women showing up, I'd sign up 30 of them, right? But I get 2, right? So, but what I found is those 40 women post on Facebook. Those 40 women are in 5 years from now have a 5-year-old kid, right? Or whatever the situation. So now I went to that school, 5 years ago for a self-defense seminar. Well, that actually helps for me to be more interested in marketing, even though I may not get an immediate result. I did a birthday party, only signed up 2. That's a pain in the butt. Yeah, but you influenced 15 kids, man.
Right on.
So think about your future marketing aspects of that. So,
yes.
I'm just going to keep going. Jump in there and interrupt me whenever. But so we're still in phase 2, right? So we hit the marketing. Now that you've kind of got your marketing, they're getting that phone to ring, you're showing up to your clean school, and now your teaching skills have got to be good, man. You've got to make sure you know how to teach a class. And I'm going to really emphasize, really good mutual friend of ours, Roland Osborne, I back in the day, 10 years, 20 years ago, I would bring him here to help me to learn to teach better, right? That's his specialty, and the Dave Kovars of the world, right? So it was like, let me learn how to teach. And so don't think you can automatically teach. I have yet to meet an instructor who says, I'm no good at teaching. Never. Right? So put that effort out there, man. If you want to grow your school, it's all about continuing education. And so teaching's got to be one of them for sure.
I would have to, Robby, I think that's one of the most major parts, because that is our product. That's what we're selling, right?
Yeah, 100%.
If I went to the Mercedes dealership and they showed me a junk car,
right?
You know what I mean? Like,
wonder why they're not successful.
Yeah,
I sold 3
100%.
cars last month. Well, yeah.
I find it interesting that you probably were a great teacher already, yet you still had Roland Osborne show up and Dave Kovar show up, because you're a great teacher, but you're always trying to get better and better and better. That's right. It's so important. That's why every time we do a Spark event, we have Roland come.
Right.
And some people sit off on the sidelines, and I'm not judging them for that.
Sure.
But they sit on the sidelines, and I'm not sure if they're like, oh, I don't want to, sweat, or if I don't want to learn. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I think this is more important than using software.
Yeah.
Is becoming the best instructor you could possibly be, or your team to become the best instructor they can be, because that's just going to elevate your entire business.
Right. And just, it's so funny, like years ago, and I was one of these people too, so I'm not going to throw shadow, but, it was all about, this doesn't need to be a personality business, right? No, it does.
Yeah,
it is. This is. Listen, have all the systems you want in place by all means. I'm all love a system. But at the end of the day, whoever's on that mat's personality's got to be there. They've got to know how to motivate, educate, and demonstrate. They've got to know how to get out there and be a good teacher, because the rest of everything else, what we talked about in phase 1, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can have the cleanest school in the world. You can, but if you can't teach them, you can't keep them. So I think that's important. Again, as we're doing this, I want the listeners to mark stuff off the list. Like, hey, I'm good at cleaning and professional image. Okay. I'm good at setting appointments and they all show up. Okay, good. I'm good at selling memberships. Okay, good. I'm good at marketing. I'm constantly have, people. Okay, good. So now we're at the teaching. Are you good at that? If you are, check the box, right? Now, the next one is going to be just student service. How are you starting? Now you have members, you're a good teacher. You've got marketing. They're showing up. They're coming to class. Are they testing? Are you sending some good job emails or text messages or postcards? Are you doing birthday announcements? What are you doing to really show that your members, that you're excited that they're a student of yours, right? So that's going to be your phase 2, right? So we got all these. I think that's 6 things, if I'm not mistaken. Moving on to phase 3 is now we got to make sure our curriculum is a curriculum that's good. We got to know how to upgrade and change the experience where people are at. And I think this is also powerful if you want to grow your school. Okay, if you want to grow your school, where do people quit? Okay, What I did is I took all my students that quit last year. Okay, and let's just say it's 100 members that quit last year. It was probably way more than that, but let's just say 100. And I take these 100 names and I put them at the belts. Like, how many of these 100 were white belts? How many were yellow belts? How many were blue belts, green belts, black belts, right? Well, your 2 biggest are white and black, at least for me, right? That's the 2 groups that quit right. So I didn't do something right. on the first end to really get them established and get them their goal set. And then I didn't have anywhere for them to go at black belt. So those are two things. But where's the other one? What I found was maybe somewhere around that green-blue level, and that's where I started putting the bow staff in. All right. So I put the bow staff in, big long stick that mom couldn't get in the car, and so couldn't carry it in the car, so we just stopped coming to class. Or maybe that green and blue belts when that class went from 5:30 to 4:30 and no one could make the class. Maybe that's when the bar next door, the Mexican restaurant, cranks up their music and no one wants to show up. But you as the owner have got to go, where do they quit, at what belt, and why? What's going on at that belt level? We know white, we know black, but they're quitting somewhere else, right? Where's that next third or fourth, fifth levels at? And we start to fill those holes. So this is important if you want to grow your school. You got to know where they're quitting and why they're quitting, for sure. Anyway, moving on from that, you know, if you got all this stuff going on, you don't have 10 students anymore, guys. If you're good with curriculum, you're good with teaching. Now you're starting to have some members. It's time to do the most important thing for growth, in my opinion, and that's staff development. Because without a team, team together we achieve more. That's exactly right. Without that, it's very, very difficult for you to grow to 400, 500, 600 members. At one time, my main location had about 750 members in it, and I had to have people directing traffic in the parking lot like a church, literally, right? So I had to have a team. Now my schools don't run that big, but we have 6 locations, so it's a little bit different model. But anyway, so staff development is key to growth. Would you agree with that?
100%. The last 6 months, all I've done was read leadership books and practicing on my own team. I knew that for Spark to get to the next level, I had to get to the next level as a leader. So yeah, leadership is so powerful to have that skill.
Yeah. I think that's probably where most school owners struggle is they either don't want to hire people, or they don't think the people they're hiring are good, so they don't train them. They're frustrated. There's all these things, but if you really want to take your school to that next level and start getting over that 150 to 200, 250 mark, you're going to have some help to do it, to help teaching classes, some help enrolling people, some help doing all the marketing stuff that we said. You're going to have to develop staff. So
it's I would even say that it's a lot easier than people might think. I'll give you some examples.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
If I'm training a new instructor, and you can give me your feedback on this. If I hire a new instructor, all right, maybe they were in my teen class before, and now, they want to be an instructor one day. I'm going to teach them everything that I want them to know. And then I'm going to have them next to me while I teach that class.
Right.
And for the next few weeks, they're just going to observe, and I'm going to tell them what to look at and what to look for, what to notice. I'm going to explain, voice inflection and how to command and all of that stuff. And then I'm going to say, hey, next class, I want you to line up the class, and I'm going to be right next to you.
Right.
And I'll take over right after you line everybody up. And then 2 weeks later, why don't you line them up and stretch them out and warm them up, and then I'll take over after you. And then a few weeks later, how about you lead them in their combos and also line them up? And eventually it goes from I know more than they do and they know little to they're getting equal to now they're taking over and I'm just the observer. So we switch places.
It's so good.
In software, it's the same thing. Like when we hire someone new in our software company, they mirror one of whoever position, they mirror them for a little bit, and then they slowly taking over while my other teammate is watching how they're doing it, giving a little corrections until basically they're on their own. And now we have 2 people doing the same exact job, but we're doing twice as much. It is a process, but it's super simple. That's what we do as martial arts instructors. Like,
that's right.
We teach our students how to learn martial arts in the exact same way. It's just now we're teaching a staff member in the same way.
It's funny, you sparked this thing. I wish I would have started this whole conversation off so people really kind of get an understanding of maybe where I came from, right? When I first opened my school, I opened in 96, and I was teaching way before that, but I had my own school in 96. And, I was on the struggle bus, right? And I'm going through all the stuff. And at the end of the year, I'm like, man, I'm just not making any money, right? I think I had 78 active members, and I was paying my $200 car note back then. And, I was no money. But at the time, I was training a lot of police officers, and they taught me into becoming a police officer. I was like, man, that's what I need to do, because all my other friends or their careers seem to be doing something. Here I am trying to figure out how to make it in my pajamas and make some money, right? So I became a police officer. And it was probably a very important thing that I learned. So when I went to become a police officer, they do something shocking, okay? They put you through what's called an academy. Yeah. And they teach you how to drive the car, shoot the gun. They teach you how to dress for court. They teach you how to spell words like marijuana and affidavit. I can spell either one of those words, right? They teach you how to get you in shape a little bit. They teach you how to handcuff. They teach you first aid. I mean, oh my gosh, it's like such an intense thing. And after that, you graduate. They put the badge on your thing. You show up to your precinct, and guess what they do? Oh, now you're ready. Oh, now you're out of the academy. Now we start training you. You'll be in what's called the FTO program, which is Field Training Officer. So you ride with this field training officer on midnights for 3 months. If you graduate from him, you go to days for 3 months. If you graduate from that, you go to the C shift for 3 months, right? So my point is, it's almost a year before you're what's called one-man certified, and you can get in that patrol car by yourself. And I'm like, yet we don't do any of that as a martial arts school. Most of the time, it's like, oh, the phone's ringing. Hey, Billy, can you teach this class? And Billy's like, oh my gosh, right? And that's how it starts. So he had no training. He has no idea how to handle these issues. And because the stuff that you're doing right here with our interview thing here, whatever, this is helping school owners, right? And so the people who are going to watch this, high five to you, man, because you're already getting training in, right? So I agree. Staff development is key to growing your business. I'm going to add one more while we're in phase 3 here. One more is the personal development, right?
Yes.
Is now you're training them, but at some point, like you just said, that switch happens. They're going to pass you, which is what your goal is, but then you need to level up and do it again, right? So personal development is probably the last thing in phase 3. And then I'm going to jump into phase 4, which is really you're going to divide and conquer, right? You've got this whole thing down. People are coming, your marketing's working, your sales are working, people are coming on the mat, your teachers are great, they're servicing your members, the curriculum's fun and exciting, you're sending good job notes, your team is super excited about growing your business, you're attending the Spark events, you're reading the books, you're learning, you're doing this, and now it's time to take that staff member, if this is your goal. It may not be everybody's goal, but I didn't open multiple locations for me. I opened multiple locations for my guys, right? I could care less about having more headaches at some degree, but it's like, hey, look, let's take this guy who's come through all these ropes and put him in his own school. That's how that happened, right? So now you can do that, and then I just go back and I tighten the spokes in the wheel, right? There's just to rehash. We go back to the beginning. Get members and keep members. Everything I talked about is spokes in that wheel that we have to go back and service and tighten up. So that's putting it, and I like teaching it this way because it's bite sized. Are you good at phase 1? Are you good at phase 2? Where are your challenges? Because some people in here, I walk into their schools and they're beautiful. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this place. It's gorgeous. That's all they do all day is vacuum and clean and Windex and wipe and clean. Have you made one phone call? No. Okay. So cleaning it, you're done. You're past that. You're more professional than I am, right? You got all kinds of stuff going on. But then, like you said, you got people who can who can get on the phone, but they can't set the appointment or they don't show. So guys, take all these things and grade yourself from 1 to 10. Man, I'm a 10 here. I'm a 7 here. I'm a 5 here. I'm a 2 here, 3, 1. And then go back off of what we're doing today and go, look, these are 3 things I want to work on. And if you don't know how to do it, reach out, man. Reach out to, Spark Team, me, whoever. I don't care. But reach out to somebody who's getting that success and ask for help. That's what I do. If I have trouble, I'm calling you. We're buddies. I call you. I call Roland. I call whoever I need to get a hold of.
Right on. Yeah,
sure.
I don't know how many martial arts schools on my come up when I was owning schools, how many schools I would just walk in, sit down like I was a parent and watch and write down notes. Oh man, this is why. Oh, there's something I just learned. And then afterwards, most of those owners, all of them, I never met a school owner that said, no, Ron, I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm not going to give you the answer. They're all so good to me. That's how I grew.
They're all teachers and we want to teach.
Yeah.
I think that's the key This thing we're talking about today is about growth. I think I would be bad not to also mention the bad word that people don't like to hear, and that's stats. It's just incredibly hard to grow a business if you don't know your numbers. Obviously Spark makes it so easy for me, but you still got to know your numbers. When I talk to my schools, how many intros did you have? How many of those did you set? How many calls did you get? How many did you set? How many are showing up? How many did you sign up? What happened? What's your contract amount if you're a school that does agreements? What's the contract amount? How much retail? Because if people aren't buying retail, this is another thing that's overlooked. Is a lot of schools just don't do retail. And if you're a fan of any sports teams, for example, and you go to the Dallas Cowboys, you're gonna be wearing a Dallas Cowboys shirt. So we got to make them fans, man. We got to give them stuff to be up. I see you got a Spark shirt on. I got a karate shirt. We're fans of what we do, right?
Right.
So we're to pass that on to our. But I don't have any. Harley Davidson. More people have Harley Davidson stuff. They have Harley Davidsons. Everybody's got the shirts and the jackets. They don't even have the motorcycle, right? So make it where people can be a fan.
Yeah, when you have 6 kids and you go to a hockey game, you buy 6 jerseys.
That's right. Yeah. Then you go sell that. That's why nobody has a motorcycle. To sell the motorcycle to buy all the jerseys. No, you're 100% right though. And speaking of that, if you're watching hockey or basketball, football, whatever, there's not one coach. There's 10 coaches. What are the rest of them coaches doing? They're like right down, so and so is scoring from the right. The right wing is scoring the puck or whatever, or shoot they have stats. So when they get down to the wire, they know who they're giving that puck to, right? They know who they're giving that basketball to. They know who's going to be running that ball or whatever. So it's all based on stats. But you can go to 99% of martial arts schools and you can ask them how many inquiries did you have last month? Huh? Well, they don't know. And you gotta know this, because how do you grow? How do you make a correction? It's impossible. So if you want to grow your school, man, know your numbers, set a goal. That's another thing. You got me on my soapbox. That's another thing.
No, I like where you're going with it.
It's like everybody wants more. And you could talk to anybody and go, hey, would you like to make more money? Yes, of course. Raise your hand if you want to make more money. Everybody in the room is good. I don't care if they're a millionaire. I want to make more money. Everybody wants to make more money. But if you say, how much more money do you want to make? You'll lose. They'll have to think about it, right? So if you want to make $100,000 a year, that means that's $8,333 a month. That means that you got to know how that factors down, and then you put that puzzle together. So I just want more students. Well, how many more do you want? And is your school built to handle what it is that you want? I want a school with 500 members. Not teaching that curriculum, not teaching that class schedule, not that parking lot. So you got to start building what you want, and not just service what you have, right? So I know I'm probably jumping around a little bit, but I just think, man, having a goal, knowing exactly how many people you want to sign up a month. I want to sign up 25 people a month. Okay, what's your marketing? How many are you going to get off of that? Bring a buddy. 1. How many are you getting off that women's self-defense? 2. How many are you getting off? Then you start, once it gets to 25, high five yourself and get to work.
This is all a master class in running a successful school, the things that you need to pay attention to. I want to go back to stats, so important. The opposite, a long time before I had Spark and I was running a school, my goal was to make $60,000 gross a month in my school. All right. This was when that was a big deal. All right.
It's still a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I know what you mean.
So finally I wrote Spark software so that all the numbers are there. And I had been hitting $60,000 a month for 9 months. I didn't even know it. I was so discouraged that I wasn't hitting my goal, and I'd already hit it 9 months before and was continuing to do it.
Wow.
So therefore, I'm setting a goal for something I already achieved, so my growth wasn't going to get any better, right? It's super important that even though Spark makes things super easy to look at your numbers, you have to study them, because that's where you're going to know where your weak points are. And maybe last month you were great at setting appointments, but this month you weren't. You went down. Maybe you have to look in to see why that was. Oh, we have someone else answering the phones now. Our stats are going down. They just need more training. They're not bad. They just need more training from us. And it could be they're showing up, but they're not enrolling. And why is that?
Right.
You won't know that without looking at your numbers.
That's
And,
right.
it's fun. I've always been a martial artist all my life. I've owned schools since I was 19 years old. At one time, I owned 3 schools. Then I sold them and moved to Tampa and opened up one good one, right?
Yeah.
And so all I've ever known was martial arts, and we don't have a real good training program on finances and CPAs and all that, right? Most people,
right.
Some people don't even have a bookkeeper, right?
Right. Yeah.
But being in the software industry, it's crazy. We hired a CFO, like
Right.
we're talking C-level suite, just to look at our finances every day, all day long. It's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that I've learned on what they pay attention to and how they can forecast, it just blows my mind because I never had that level of education. I never graduated college, by the way.
Me neither. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm in good company then,
Yeah, you're in great company.
Barely past 12th grade.
I might even pay the teacher off to do it.
But what I've learned is that, the CFO is not running the business. All he's doing is looking at numbers.
Right.
And he can tell us at any moment, hey guys, we got a problem over here, or holy crap, you're doing really well here. He can do that without looking at us, without us seeing a phone call that we're making or chatting with one of our users or anything. He knows it by numbers. And if we're not putting some attention there, I don't know that we can grow to where we are our full potential.
100%. 100%. And just to kind of bounce off that, you got to know, because every month is a little bit different, right? So what what works one month, like for example, December is historically or statistically a challenging month for a lot of schools, and so can July. Now, a lot of schools are doing the holiday events, which obviously compensates for that, and that's my whole point. Is your stats can tell you what to do. It's like, okay, now we need to work on the upgrades. So let me upgrade 15, 20 people, and that'll help offset the fact that I didn't enroll that many people. So you're 100% right, man.
Right on.
Nobody wants to do it. No one wants to do stats, man, but it needs to be something that's done every week. I had one buddy when I used to be a consultant. I was consulting a guy, and I got him doing the stats, and every week I said, man, let's go with the stats. And he would email me his stats, and it would be nothing on the page, like literally nothing. I said, why didn't you fill in the blanks? He goes, well, I just don't like writing zero. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, I didn't have an intro. So right, I want you to write zero because psychologically that's going to tell you, crap, this sucks, right? I don't want to. I got to do something. And it just got in his head. His bad stats got in his head, so he just didn't want to do the stats. Yeah. I'm like, that's not how it works, buddy. I mean, you've got to let that motivate you, not demotivate you, right? You got like, crap. Why am I writing zeros in all the columns? Go out and fix it, and it's fixable, but you can't run from it.
Facing the truth is always a good thing,
right?
It's way easier to lie to yourself, but when you look at numbers, truth can come out. And I agree with you. Now you can take action on it.
Now you take action. You can't take action on something that you're not, that you don't know anything about. Like you said, you're already doing the $60,000 a month. Well, how are you going to go to 80? I mean,
right?
No, because you're still trying to do something you're already doing.
Yeah.
Right. So I agree. So if you want to grow a school, know your goals, set your goals, make sure you're following the statistics. Start with your basics in mind. Make sure everybody can do everything before you go out and just focus so much on. And I learned this. I was consulting another school in Miami, and this guy was like, "Man, I'm just not enrolling people. I need some more marketing." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, man!" I said, "Hey, buddy, you're doing everything I'm doing, and we're doing these numbers." So it frustrated me so bad that I jumped on an airplane and flew to Miami to go to a school, and I went in and I was like, okay, well, we're not confirming the appointments, or we're not doing any type of introductory type of lesson. Whether it was like, man, we had so much to fix. It was never the marketing. The marketing worked. It was all the other things I was mentioning earlier that weren't in place. So that's why I kind of like to talk about that. Is don't blame marketing for your lack of growth. Right? It is a humongous part. I'm not denying that. But it's not it's only part of it, right? The gun's important, but there's got to be bullets, right? So it's like you can't just have one that you can't just focus on marketing. It's got to be, are we able to close them? Are the intros showing up? And what are we doing to make sure all these little things, man? And that's really where I think people are going to see growth for sure.
100%. 100%. Hey, as I'm hearing you talk, I believe that you're 1,000% right. But it could be overwhelming for some school owners.
Yeah.
You got to do 6 marketings. You got to do, it could get overwhelming.
Yeah.
But when how does a school owner overcome that overwhelm or know where to start?
I think, and of course I'm spitting this stuff out fast, right? Because I know people aren't going to sit here and listen to us talk for 4 hours. And I'm spitting the stuff out fast, but really breaking it down to the simple. Breaking it down and not looking at such a big, staff and development, payroll. No. What's your goal? That should be easy. I want 200 students, or I want, how many what are we losing a month? How many do I need to get this? So start with your goal. Start there. Then make sure, start with the basic stuff I talked about.
Yep.
Don't get in your own way. Can you answer the phone? And like you said earlier, man, I used to do a lot of the instructor training when I was consulting, and I'm not gonna say it drove me crazy, but I was like, I was disappointed when I would teach an instructor training class and at the super show, and there'd be 400 people. There'd be just as many people along the walls. I'm like, man, come out. Okay, don't be afraid to be wrong. You know what I mean? It's okay to be a white belt. It's okay. As a matter of fact, I have way more respect for you if you'll come in this as a white belt instead of trying to tell me how you know everything. When I'm ready to learn, when I'm learning Spark stuff, I am a white belt, man. I'm going to ask stupid questions. I'm okay with that because I know you're okay with that. I think you would rather me ask the stupid questions than to me assume that I know what I'm doing. Well, let me tell you, when I had my Atari 6400. The joystick. Where's the joystick? You don't want to hear that. Just shut up and let you teach, right? So be a student, man. Reach out. There's so many. Back when you had your schools, and when I was opening my schools, 30 years ago, we didn't have these resources. We didn't have a computer. I've been in school for years and never had a computer. So more or less a software.
Yeah, we had to run in the back, open a filing cabinet, search alphabetically, pull it out. Oh, this guy needs to be renewed 3 months ago.
Yeah, and if you're one of the good schools, you would fax your stuff over to some billing company, right? I mean, it was just. So nowadays it's almost silly to be struggling because there's so much help and so many resources out there.
So many great tools.
You just gotta reach out, man. Just reach out, man. Reach out. I know Grandmaster Park talks about that a lot. He's always open and, open to, hey, come learn, you got to take advantage of that stuff.
Yeah. I saw a competitor, and when I say competitor, I'm talking about the school owner across the street from him. Walked in and says, I'm having troubles. Can you help me out? And I saw him take in the back room and just say, here's how I do it. Like such a giving dude to someone that probably could actively take students from his marketing efforts, but yeah.
I've done that. I've got buddies of mine that have schools here that constantly just go eat lunch. What do you need? What can I help you with? Because we're all what they say, the rising tide raises all boats or whatever. There's truth to that. Because anytime
as long as I have a yacht.
Yeah. Anytime you teach somebody something, you're naturally or should naturally grow yourself, right? Like if I'm going to show you how to sidekick, then I'm going to start my sidekick. I'm going to work on getting a little bit better. So the next time you come, I can help you improve yours, right? So it's just going to make everybody better.
100%. Well, this has been fun. You probably packed in a 4-hour masterclass in the last 35 minutes. So
I know, and I feel bad. I dumped so much information. But my goal is like rewind this. Will they be able to rewind and watch this a few times?
I sure hope so. This is 100%.
So
go back and listen over and over. Take some good notes.
Right.
I might even feed all this through AI and put out the notes.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Give it to people.
Now I don't know if AI can recognize my redneck accent though. I'm from Tennessee, man. They ain't gonna be able to recognize that. Boomhauer on whatever that show is.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks so much, brother. I really do appreciate it. I believe that martial arts instructors who are improving their own lives are going to make the biggest impact on our world. Like I always say, I don't have any control of what's happening in the government. I have no control of what's happening, with, the stock market.
Right.
But I do know that I have control over the influence of the people that are around us. And I truly believe that martial artists and school owners and instructors, they have the ability to make the deepest impacts in our communities, communities that I want my kids and my grandkids to be a part of. So, I think the way that you've shared with us today and helped some people, I think is going to help those school owners make a bigger impact. At least that's my hope.
Yeah. It's funny, and we'll get on, but I think it was Abraham Lincoln or someone like that said one time, if you want to make an investment, you're not really sure where where your guaranteed safe investment is in people, right? And I just think that's whether that's your students or your staff or yourself, invest in people.
100%.
Yeah,
That's
been awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
For having me on, and I can't wait to watch all the rest of the people that you're going to have, and that you got some great people, because I have some insight. I know who's coming, who's been. It's going to be awesome, man. So
yes, sir. And hey, listen, come down to Tampa soon. Our building here in Tampa, 5,000 square feet, 1,400 feet of it is training space.
Oh wow!
So I'm going to have you come down and do a master class for the Spark clients here.
I would love it. I love it. I hope I'm going to talk to you and put me a little office in there, just a place.
I got it. I already have it. I'll put your name on it.
All right, brother.
All right, brother.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us on the Membership Business Growth Podcast. We hope you take what you learned and use it to propel your business to new heights. For more information, episodes, show notes, and to get social, hit us at membershipbusinessgrowth.com. Membershipbusinessgrowth.com. If you want to go deeper or send us comments, you can email ron@sparkmembership.com. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Membership Business Growth Podcast with Ron Sell. Thanks again for listening.